Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Owl House, episodes 4 and 5. So yeah, we're back this week with more Owl House. It's been too long. We're back with reactions this week after last week. But yeah, I'm excited to get to more Owl House. This series has been good so far. Not like anything spectacular or whatnot, but good, legitimately good. And we'll just kind of have to see where it goes. So last time we kind of had the school introduced and stuff, and I mean, I guess we'll see what comes from that afterwards, because so far it seems pretty episodic. Each episode seems to be doing kind of its own thing. But at the same time, it is still progressing the concept of Lou's learning about this world, the Boiling Isles, and kind of adapting to it, as well as starting to train under, oh my god, what is her name? Ida. So I'm excited to see where this all takes it, and I'm hoping it starts to get into an actual storyline soon, like a legitimate ongoing plot. But yeah, I have no idea where this is going to go. Like, I haven't been spoiled to these episodes at all. I was told, I guess, that episodes 4 and 5 I should react to together, which, I mean, I plan to do anyway. Because I guess it was said that they kind of go together, which isn't really much of a spoiler or anything. That's just kind of like, okay, you should react to these together because they're kind of a two-parter. Like, that's not, I don't consider that a spoiler, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where this goes, but I do want it to have some kind of ongoing story soon. One thing I can say is that it still hasn't brought back the idea of Luz's mom finding out about all this, which I'm actually still disappointed about. Granted, we're only a few episodes in, but still, it really needs to do that, because from a logical just standpoint, that needs to happen. I mean, I went over a big rant about it before, but it's like, Luz's mom needs to find out, or needs to at least find out her daughter's not at the camp she was sent to. And I think it would be super obvious, and it would be super instantaneous that she would find out, because it's, again, the camp would make sure to call right away when Luz didn't show up. So it's like, kind of, I mean, and maybe she already did find out about it. And maybe she is freaking out. We just haven't seen it. But the thing is, we need to see it. We need to see it to know that it's happening. We can't just assume. Like, I'm definitely interested in the stuff with the Boiling Isles and her learning to be a witch and everything. But at the same time, it's like, we need to have that other kind of conflict brought in too. I mean, it can't just be all one thing. Like, even Star Versus knew how to do that kind of thing. But both before and after it started fucking itself over. But seriously, we definitely need to catch up on this plot point that was, you could say, dangled in front of us. Because it's like, it wouldn't be such a massive plot hole if nothing came of it. And would severely hurt the series. But either way, yeah. I do want to get to maybe something else today. I was going to record Crisis Jung, but there was an issue with the files I had, so I can't do that today. But yeah, I do want to get to at least something else today to kind of especially make up for the fact that last week we didn't get to anything. But yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. And hopefully everything goes well. Excuse me. Hopefully that I enjoy these 2 episodes and continue to enjoy this series. So let's just get it started. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers on these 2 episodes. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So this was a very good set of episodes, actually. In fact, I'd say these were 2 of the better episodes of the series so far. Which, again, not to say much because there was only 3 episodes before this, but still. Yeah, these were really good. The first, and I think the big reason why, even though they didn't go into, again, the mother thing, which I still think they need to, the reason they were very good is because they are starting to build on a story. We are starting to learn more about Ida as a character, and we're starting to sort of connect all of that in a way that is going to build this ongoing narrative. So in the first one, episode 4, we find out that Ida is cursed. She is cursed that she turns into this owl demon-like monster if she doesn't take this elixir every day. The elixir is able to hold it off and keep her under control. But otherwise, she basically becomes this mindless beast who will eat creatures. Apparently, she has teeth in her stomach. Yeah, and she has black eyes, and apparently black-eyed demons are extremely strong, from what King told us, though, to be fair, King isn't the most reliable source. But yeah, and in episode 5, we meet her sister, Lilith, who apparently has been contracted by the Emperor himself to capture her. So that's interesting. And we know she's a criminal. We know she's a criminal, and we find out one of the reasons why in this episode is because she refuses to join a coven, which apparently is law. I guess set down by the Emperor, all witches have to be part of a coven. Now, Ida's initial thoughts on that were, oh, I don't want to be part of a coven. One of the big reasons being because I don't want my magic restricted. I want to be free to perform magic the way I want. And one of her big things was, like, when you join a coven, all of your other magic is locked and you can only use one. But we find out that the Emperor's coven allows you to use all forms of magic, but it's harder to join. It only accepts the best of the best. The problem here, though, is that Ida could probably join it. In fact, even considering Lilith's interaction with her, it's kind of implied that she would be welcomed to join it. So there's got to be more of a reason why she won't than she just doesn't like covens. There's got to be more of a legitimate reason. And part of that, I assume, has to be because of Lilith herself. They seem to have a bit of a strained relationship. Obviously, we don't know the details behind that yet, but there's definitely something there, and that's probably one of the reasons. But I feel there's also something more to it. Again, it's not just the entire feeling of being constrained and restricted and all. There's more to it, I feel. But the fact that the Emperor is having Lilith try to capture Ida is really interesting, and kind of shows that there is definitely something bigger going on here that we're going to move into. Meanwhile, these 2 episodes also did some good stuff for Luz. She's starting to actually learn magic now. Because prior to this, like, she really hasn't been learning anything. She's been exploring the Boiling Isles and just kind of getting used to the area. Now we're starting to get her actually learning stuff. In episode 4, she's trying to learn this light spell that Ida performs. However, with Ida asleep and everything, King has to try and help her, and they accidentally try to use Ida's elixir, not knowing what it actually is. Because apparently there used to be a way that witches performed magic before they would use the bile sac that they naturally have within their bodies. Um, and judging on what Luz actually does, it does very much remind me of Supernatural. See, in Supernatural, in order to cast a spell or or something to like seal demons, that kind of stuff, Sam and Dean and various other characters, they'll draw like a magic circle, usually in blood, and they press their hand to it. Like, for example, in Supernatural, angels are not always good guys. Let's leave it at that. There's a lot to go into with that, but angels are not always the good guys, and as a way to get rid of angels, to like send them away, they would draw a specific pattern circle, press their hand to it, the circle would glow, and the angels would be like just teleported away and be unable to come back to that area for a certain amount of time. And it kind of feels like the same thing here, because we see that Luz draws a circle, this pattern circle, with her finger with some kind of material, or as we saw when she had to take care of Ida, she drew it on the wall and everything, in crayon or whatever. And then she pressed her hand to it. When she was drawing the little circle, her finger was already pressed to it, and it would create this little orb of light. When she pressed her hand to the big one, it would create a much bigger orb of light. And it's very much reminiscent of that in Supernatural. And I wonder if it was kind of inspired by that a little. Maybe a little bit. But we see that she's learning how to do this, and she seems fine at it. It's like by episode 5, she can do it fairly well. She's memorized the pattern she has to draw. So it's like she's basically mastered it. But as Amity points out, it seems to be a low-level spell, so that's not too like hard to believe. Now, we also see that we're starting to get more with just this kind of world building as well, though, with the witches specifically. Because, like, prior to this, obviously, we knew other witches existed because of the school and everything, and that they were training to become, like, official and whatnot. But we didn't have have a scope for it. We just had, like, oh, there's this school, kind of Hogwarts style. But now we have a scope where it's like, okay, this is a bigger thing. This is, like, just part of the culture of the Boiling Isles. Because, I mean, even with the Emperor's Coven, this is a big deal. The Emperor has witches specifically serving under him. And we see, like, the different kind of covens in this convention, which I like that wordplay. The different kind of covens they have there, and it's really interesting to see, like, it's not just like different types of magic, like, oh, water magic here, earth magic here, strength magic here. No, there's like legitimate things that based on like real life needs, like baking. There's a cooking coven where it's just like, oh, you use magic to cook stuff. There's a construction coven. You use magic to build buildings and other such structures. You know, useful stuff. And it's like, yeah, I've seen in various other things where people use magic for those kind of purposes and all. But it's really cool to see that here, to see that there's actual dedicated covens to using magic for, like, legitimate purposes. And I like that. I really like that. It helps build this world and shows that magic isn't just like some kind of weird special thing in this world just to do basically for fun. No, in this world it's actually used for, well, useful purposes. It's used for everything pretty much. And I really appreciate that. I think that's a really cool idea. Lilith as a character is interesting. She clearly, again, as I pointed out before, her and Ida definitely have something from their past that's kind of caused them to drift apart. And it's more than just the fact that Ida doesn't want to join the coven. It's more than just the fact that um, Lilith did join a coven and is now the leader of the Emperor's coven. You can tell it's more than that. There was definitely something more from their past. Her personality is a lot like Ida's, except a little more show-offy, if you know what I mean. Like, not completely conceited. Like, that's not the right way to put it, I feel. But she very much is high. She has a high opinion of herself. It definitely seems like she's very highly like thought of by others, and it's kind of inflated her own ego a bit. Um, while on the other hand, Amity is showing that she's starting to kind of come out of that kind of thing. And maybe that's partially because of Luz. We see that she is upset that she had gotten in trouble because she never gets in trouble. She's the perfect student. And at the end of episode 5, we even see her basically acknowledge Luz. She says that she believes Luz will do it anyway, become a witch anyway, despite the odds being against her and everything. And I like that. It shows that she's willing to acknowledge her now, that she's willing to just accept it, almost. I doubt that she's going to completely side with Luz or anything anytime soon, no. She's definitely going to still be antagonistic, but she's coming around. And I like that. It shows that she's able to grow as a character. And I know I've already made the Hogwarts reference, but it's almost kind of like I feel like a better version of Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter. Because Draco's thing was that, oh, he's a bad guy, he's an antagonist. But we find out in the later books that he's just like that because that's how his parents raised him, and he was always kind of raised in the shadow of, you know, his parents being Death Eaters and stuff. And that after Voldemort's defeat, he was able to come around and end up abandoning that side to him. And even kind of became not really friends with Harry, but they were associates. They had a good relationship at the ending of the series. But yeah, it's like I feel this is better done because we're seeing her grow throughout these episodes. We're seeing Amity continuously change, continuously grow. And I know it's only been 2 episodes with her, but still, it's something. Because with Draco, it's just like, that never happened. He was just a bad guy until like the last couple books, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's actually a reason. Oh, he's not as evil as it made it out to be. And it's like, it almost kind of came out of nowhere. And don't get me wrong, I love the Harry Potter books, but that was one of the things that always bothered me a little bit. I feel Draco's arc could have been done so much better. So yeah, it kind of made me think of that with Amity. Amity definitely seems to be more on the side that she's going to just progressively start getting nicer and nicer, and maybe eventually even just join their friend group. Hell, maybe she'll eventually end up helping them straight up in taking on the Emperor or whatnot. Because that seems to be kind of where it might be headed with the Emperor and everything kind of in charge. Maybe that's where they're going to have to get to in the end. We'll have to see. But yeah, overall, these 2 episodes were very good. They gave us a lot to work with this series. But at the same time, they were also just generally enjoyable. They were really fun. They were funny. I would say right now that King is probably the least interesting character to me. And don't get me wrong, I like King. But I'm much more interested in the stuff with Ida and Luz and, hell, even the other students that we've met, Amity and the other 2 whose names I cannot remember right now. I'm more interested in all of that. King is cute. He's a fun character, and he's a good bit of levity for the series. Not that it really needs a lot of levity. It's not really a heavy series, but still. Um, I like him, but I wouldn't say he's one note, but he doesn't have as much intrigue to him as the other characters do right now. At least not for me personally. I just feel like he's a little flatter than, say, Ida or Luz or the others. But again, that's no means saying that I don't like him. I'm just more interested in everything else going on. But in the meantime, tell me down in the comments below what you thought of these 2 episodes of The Owl House. And I can definitely kind of see why it was said to watch these together because of Ida mentioning her curse to her sister and everything, and both of them kind of building on Ida's backstory and everything a bit. So I can kind of see why it was said to watch these together. I mean, I would have anyways, just because, you know, the timing of it all. But I'm glad to be back with more of this, and we will get to more episodes in the future. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.